Brought to you by Penguin.
Sinopticon, a celebration of Chinese science fiction, translated and edited by Xueting Christine Ni. Read by Rebecca Yeoh, Jeremy Young Jones, Daniel York, and Katie Leung, with an introduction read by Xueting Christine Ni.
Introduction written and read by Xueting Christine Ni. Whenever I'm back in China, I like to wander around the old shopping districts, checking out the street stores, fashion boutiques, as well as the music and bookshops, just to see if there are any titles or trends I've missed out on during my time away. Seeing what books are prominently displayed in the country is also a good indication of the everyday concerns and considerations of its people. A few years ago, I popped into the Xinhua bookstore, China's biggest chain of booksellers, and began to look through the bestseller and new arrival displays. There were plenty of biographies of successful public figures, various kinds of self-help manuals, lots of Western bestsellers in translation, and of course a good selection of romance novels that had been spun into drama series on TV. I was surprised by the lack of genre fiction, other than the great Chinese staple, wuxia. Despite hunting high and low, I could not find a single sci-fi book, and in the end had to ask the staff. Without even lifting her head from her work, the assistant gestured vaguely towards the children's department. I was a little surprised and asked her if they were really putting stuff like The Three-Body Problem in there. "Oh, why didn't you say so before?" She led us through row upon floor-to-ceiling row of secondary education textbooks to the science section and pointed to a single waist-high shelf facing the wall, where I found a neat selection of interesting new novels and short story collections, keeping company with the Liu Cixins. The fact that kehuan, the Chinese term for science fiction, still gets lumped in with educational literature in China is not as random as it seems. In the 1950s and early 60s, modern China's first period of prosperity and stability, authors with science backgrounds were very much encouraged to put their skills to public education. Hundreds of them set to work updating Mikhail Ilin's children's encyclopedia, 100,000 Whys, expanding it to 8 volumes. The series remains a popular read for children decades after. As a child of the 1980s, these books, along with a copy of Believ's Professor Dow's Head, which I found lying around the flat, were the sum and total of my earliest science fiction experience. Moving to Britain as a teenager, I started to sink into series like Star Trek, Quantum Leap, and X-Files, but was steered away from pop culture by narrow-minded parents who expected me to be the good Chinese child. This was only a partial success. After growing up on a heavy diet of the English literary canon, I discovered a whole universe in classic science fiction during university, which sparked a love of the genre that has stayed with me ever since. It isn't surprising that the West does not think of China as having a science fiction heritage. And in my years of pitching a collection like this, I was often greeted with incredulity, being told that the Chinese don't do sci-fi, a phrase I used for my touring lecture on how much sci-fi China actually does. Like so much of Chinese culture, though, it's long been shared internally with periodicals, films, and conventions, but not presented to the outside world, being deemed too niche or not worthy enough. It really hasn't been till authors like Liu Cixin or Hao Jingfang won their Hugo Awards, and the global success of film adaptations like The Wandering Earth, that people in the West finally pricked up their ears. In China itself, kehuan is undergoing a renaissance.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?